So for your work today, you guys needed to look at 6 different exercises, so a little bit of a beefy assignment, but some really good practice. And we're looking at making an inference. So we know that an inference isn't stated directly in the text. It's something we have to put together with what we already know in our own experience and have some evidence in the text to back it up. So it's text plus what you know equals an inference. Okay, so let's take a look at the first couple of these and let's see how far we get. Okay. In 1829, Daniel Webster started a page program in the United States Senate. The pages are young people who work for the senators. For example, pages run errands and deliver messages. Pages are chosen by the senators of their home states. They must be 16 years old, have good grades, and show leadership qualities. Pages live near the Capitol building and attend school. They are excused from homework when the senators work overtime. Pages get paid, but the biggest reward is the experience of working in the Senate. Question number 1 asks us to decide if it's just a fact stated directly in the text or if we have to make an inference, if it's something we have to put together the pieces of information and make an educated guess. Okay, pages run errands for senators. Okay, so I need to go look at what it talks about pages doing, because this choice says runs errands. So the pages are young people who work for the senators. Pages run errands and deliver messages. This one's stated directly in the text, so it's going to be a fact. Okay. Pages are interested in government. So does it talk about their interests at all? Notice how I'm breaking down the answer choices to help me narrow down what to look back at in the text. In 1829, he started a page program. They work for senators. They are chosen by the senators. They have to be 16, have good grades, and show leadership. They are excused from homework when the senators work overtime. They get paid, but the biggest reward is the experience of working in the Senate. So it does not come out and say they're interested in government. We have to put that together, and our clue for that actually is that their big reward is the experience of working in the Senate or one branch of the government. So we know from people who put in a lot of hard work into something, like all of those things that they listed here that they have to do, that they must also be interested in it or they would stop doing it. So this one is an inference. Okay. Pages go to school. So I'm looking for it mentioning school. Okay. Pages live near the Capitol building and attend school. So it does come out and say that directly. It's going to be a fact. It's an honor to be a Senate page. Okay, so I'm looking for it telling us that this is an honor or something special and to be this particular job. So let's go look and see how it describes this job. They started the program. They're made from young people. They run errands and deliver messages. Well, that doesn't sound like an honor. That sounds like a lot of kind of grunt work. Pages are chosen by their senators. Well, hey, chosen might say that it's an honor. Okay, senators from their home states. That sounds like a little bit of local pride. They have to be 16 years old and have good grades. So again, making it a step harder, and show leadership qualities. So we have a lot of evidence for it, but not directly stated yet. Okay, if they're chosen, they have to have good grades and show leadership qualities. They're excused from homework. It sounds like a pretty big honor, but they don't come out and say that. So if they don't come out and say it, it is an inference. Okay. Number 2 says to write yes or no under each heading on the chart to show if the word describes a Senate page. Okay. A page is busy. Well, if they have to be excused from homework because there's so much work when the senators work overtime, it is fair to say that they are busy. Okay, so we're going to check that one off. If they are responsible, well, to have good grades and to show leadership qualities and to do that much work, it's fair to say that they are responsible. Okay, but to keep up with all of that, there's no way that they could be lazy. So they would not be a lazy person in this position. How'd you guys do on our first practice? Not too bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and scroll over to the other side, and we'll stop after the first practice, the first two practices, for a little bit of a break. Okay. Have you ever heard of a walking school bus? Students in some parts of the United States travel by such buses every day. The driver of these buses is often a parent who leads a group to and from school. Now, driver, guys, if you notice, is in quotation marks, which means they're not actually driving anything. It must be a figure of speech here, okay? So a parent who leads the group to and from school on foot. So they are walking maybe in bus format or formation, but they are not actually driving people around in an imaginary bus. If the group is large, there is usually another adult who acts as the conductor and walks at the rear of the group to make sure that everyone stays together. So a conductor is kind of like the person who runs the trains. So they're making a reference of somebody who's leading the group and making sure everybody stays together. Students are picked up and dropped off at their homes. Walking buses help students get fresh air, and they also help reduce pollution and traffic congestion. So congestion, I know that traffic means there's a lot of it tightly together, and I know that when I am congested with a cold, that it means my chest is stuffy, so traffic must be stuffy and tight together. So again, we're looking to see if it is stated directly a fact or if we have to put it together with what we know from our own experience to make an educated guess, and it's an inference. Walking school buses provide good exercise, okay? So there would be something about exercise if this was stated directly. Does it ever mention students working out? I don't see working out. This is all about how it works, and now students are picked up and dropped off at their homes. Okay, it is a walking bus, and I know that walking has to do with exercise and getting fresh air and reducing pollution, but it never comes out and says that they get good exercise. But I know from somebody who walks a lot that that would be good exercise, so I can make that inference. Two adults usually accompany a large group, okay? So we're looking for how many adults, if it actually tells us, okay? Students in some part travel by buses every day. The driver, so that's one adult because it says it's a parent, leads the group, and then it said if it's a large group, there's usually another adult. So it doesn't come out and say two adults, but it does mention both of them directly in the text, so this is a fact, okay? Slow walkers could cause problems for the group. Okay, so I'm looking for where it talks about slow walkers. Okay, and let's see, this is how it works. There's one parent, there's another adult walking at the rear. Now it does mention making sure that everyone stays together, but it doesn't come out and say anything about students who are slow. So I know from large groups and traveling in large groups that it's important to keep everybody close and staying together. So if there was somebody who was slower and kind of lagging at the back, that would cause some problems, but it doesn't come out and say that, so it must be an inference. Walking buses aren't much fun in bad weather. So I'm looking for where it talks about bad weather. Remember, again, guys, we are taking the main idea of each answer choice, and that's telling us what to search for in the passage. Because if it is an inference, it's not going to be stated directly. So I'm looking for where it talks about weather. And again, how it works. The conductor, they're picked up and dropped off. Oh, fresh air. It doesn't really say anything else about the weather. So if it doesn't state it directly, it must be an inference, but let's see if there's actual proof for it. Walking buses aren't much fun in the bad weather. Well, I know that I don't like to be outside when it's wet and snowy and cold, so I imagine other people walking wouldn't want to either. That's an inference. Okay, and our last section of this first practice, went a little too far, is the word below describing a walking school bus. Healthy. Well, if they can get good exercise, that would be healthy. Unsafe. It doesn't ever talk about it being dangerous, so that is not a fair word to describe it. And expensive. Well, I know it doesn't cost any money to walk, and they don't have to pay the two adults who walk with